Alright, people, welcome to my space. Welcome to my realm. Welcome to my creative persona. My video creating persona. I don't even want to do this. I'm forcing myself to sit down and do this video right now. You can hear it in my voice. It's terrible. Anyway, I appreciate you for being here. This is you. Well, hopefully this is you, because you lost some weight. You're feeling good. You've been exercising. This is your entire personality in one egg. Let's make this look more like an egg. Well, a cracked egg. Anyway, that's you. So as we're growing up, we're absorbing everything. You're hatching. Let's group this. And then you got other people. And you guys are constantly interacting. This is a friend, let's say parent, we'll say sibling. And all of you guys are constantly interacting. Your personality is being basically shape-shifted by your interactions with these other eggs. Your personality is an egg. So you have a bunch of output. You know, maybe you talk back to your parents one time and then you watch how they react. Or one of your friends is getting bullied at school and it makes you feel a certain way. And it's basically shaping who you are. Believe it or not, you're pretty unoriginal. And the way that you're kind of absorbing your environment is, at least for the early parts of your life, is shaping who you are, this personality. What you do with it later in your life, that's when it starts to lean on you. Yeah, so as this is happening, as you're being shaped, you're becoming encrusted. It's like there's molten iron being formed around your personality as you're slowly growing older and accepting inputs, putting out outputs and accepting inputs and iterating on your experience. This is what builds your aura, your presence, right? You don't have much control when you're young on who these people are going to be, especially your parents and your siblings. And those are the most influential people in your life. So a lot of this aura that you're building up is extremely unintentional. It's like a response. It's a reaction. It's pretty much common knowledge now that the 5 people that you spend most of your time with are have a direct correlation to where you're going to end up in life. Are they positive? Do they have optimistic outlooks on life? Are they high energy? Are they just exuding positive energy with focused, power? If you're not around people like that, well then you should get around people like that, because it's going to drive you. So the next phase, the next stage of not putting too many of your eggs in one personality comes from you breaking out of this unintentional wrapper, this aura that you have around your egg. And in order to do that, you just need to have a breakthrough. You need to take a bunch of DMT and meditate. As you start to, progress through life and realize that you're kind of just this blob of unintentional, lack of focus that's heading in all different directions and not one focused light beam, you need to kind of cross the bridge. You need to cross the chasm. Yeah. You need to jump the abyss, and there needs to be a catalyst. We're all gonna have different catalysts, whatever. Just get over the chasm. So once there's a big enough catalyst in your life, draw a little volcano here. You're heating up. You need to break free. Rid of the blob aura. Become your own person. Build your own personality, and maybe even multiple. We'll get there in a minute. So something happens in your life. You have a spiritual awakening. Something really bad happens in your life, maybe. Some of the best catalysts are negative events. The breakthrough, the leap, the quantum leap. You finally jump, you hit the gap, and you escape. Woo! Over here. See you later, whack-ass aura. Now you're just free range, right? You're just floating. You're just ego deathing. You're in the nether, looking for a new home. And this is when you discover placebo. This is when you discover the reality designers, the ultimate spiritual gurus, the only spiritual gurus. So you're floating through space, you hit the chasm. This is a stage of discovery. You start to explore. You start to be more intentional about your learning. You start to want to learn from people who you want to emulate. Instead of emulating unintentionally the people that are in your environment who happen to be there, you're searching, you're seeking out auras, energies, people with strong character. You're being more conscious about it. You're noticing different traits about someone that you appreciate, and then you're purposely applying that trait onto your own personality. This is when things start to get fun. It's like the starting point of building your own reality. I mean, at this stage, every experience is a lesson, and it all relies on your perception, how you're able to filter out your experiences and pull pros and cons, the good and bad, the positive, the negative, from each situation, from each experience, and then start to apply the things that you want to see in yourself to your own persona, and rid of the ones that you don't. The reason why your egg at this stage is not living within one aura, within one persona, is because it's more advantageous for you to apply certain personas when they're most required. I want to make this symmetrical, but I'm not doing it. In each part of your day, you're going to have to do different tasks. And if you want to do them well, you need to harness the energy of different personas for that task at hand. It's like chunking your attention and placing it into a different filtration system for that moment that you're experiencing at that time, for handling that specific task, dealing with that specific person. So life, reality, is extremely binary, and each one of these personas is going to be split into logical and creative aspects, and depending on the task at hand, you're going to apply, you're going to shift yourself into the certain persona that's required for that specific moment. It's going to give you the most power for that specific moment. So here's a bucket of stones. Let's label these with time because it matters. So you have your midnight, you have your 9 p.m. Okay, so this is your different personas, your different character wrappers that you're going to deploy yourself into for that specific time in the day. And each one of these is going to be weighted with different levels of rocks. So we have our box of rocks, we have our personas, we have our time frames. Alright, I'm back. It's 3 hours later. I had dinner and I couldn't finish a video earlier, but that's all good. We're going to do it now. Yeah, obviously at this stage it seems like we're overcomplicating a daily cycle of life, but I want you to remember that at this stage, this isn't for beginners. This is for people who are already attacking life vigilantly, and you shouldn't really be iterating to this degree and getting this hyper analytical if you haven't already hit the baseline fundamentals. For people who want to elevate and get to the next level, this is how this is going to be extra advantageous to you. It's going to make you more of a multi-dimensional force to be reckoned with. So as a quick example, here's another egg, right? This is you in a parallel universe who's still stuck as a one-dimensional blob, not ending up in any possible direction. You're trapped in your old ways, in your old aura. It's a negative aura. It's a slow vibe. It's not penetrating. It's not penetrating the threshold of what it means to actually matter. Someone who's trapped as a one-dimensional character in one singular personality, they're fragile to change. They can't adapt. They can't be on their toes. Maybe they're super logical. They can do math problems really well. They're always on time. They never miss their assignments, are reliable. They show up for work. They live a proper life in society, but they can't relax. They never have fun. They're not really that great at talking to people. They don't have strong relationships. They're not expressing themselves as a free person who has different experiences and ideas. They can't share their emotions, their passions. They're too rigid. They're stagnant. They're static. They're a static one-dimensional being who's trapped in the logical side of their brain. On the contrary, you have someone who's, may I say, a hippie, an artist. They're free form. They just constantly are expressing themselves. They thrive in chaos, right? They might be good artists. Maybe they do some beautiful work, but they're late on their bills. They borrow money and don't pay people back. They don't respect other people's time. They show up late. They miss deadlines. They're negatively impacting society by making other people pick up their slack. They're too scatterbrained. They're a liability. We need balance. That's why this system is advantageous. People who are intelligent don't even need, like, a lot of people who, this is like just almost like drawing out what intelligent, well-rounded people are already doing on a sub-level layer without even really realizing it. Like, people who are just successful naturally, those people, they just get it. This is what they're doing. They're anti-fragile. They adapt on the fly. Back to the system. So this is you. These are your character wrappers. These are your personas you're going to occupy throughout the day in whatever way makes the most sense for your daily pattern. Have a daily schedule. These things can change too, and you can move these around. It's a mental model drawn on a piece of paper to help solidify an idea for yourself that you can use as a reference. It's not a map with certain pathways that you need to follow. It's just a tool. It's just a mental model. Anyway, we got your stones and we got your character wrappers. So to represent the left and the right brain and the binary nature of our personalities and reality as a whole, we have the split line, and these stones are going to represent weighted values. Each one of these stones represents an attribute which will equal 1 on the scale, on a weighted scale. So throughout your day, you're going to be balancing between, it's like a tightrope walk between your logical and your creative mind, and applying it at specific times that makes the most sense for your daily schedule is going to make you excel further than you could ever imagine. To start, 5 a.m. Let's go through my routine, basically. Jump out of bed, I'm in the shower, my mind is already racing, I can't wait to work. I'm heavy in the logical, right away. There is creative, so like there's always going to be like a play between both of these. This isn't like a heat map of what parts of your brain are being utilized throughout the day. It's more like a representation of the balance of your comprehensive power that's being utilized. That it's like a module, it's like a filtration module, and we're poking holes That's almost like a cooler analogy and graphic, is that like these are holes and we're poking into the we're releasing light. Like this is like a lens, and we're poking holes to release more focus and attention through each one of these holes. It's a cool spin. But yeah, 5 a.m. I wake up, where every day I have all of my hours planned out. And it's not to a level where it's like I'm sitting there and spending crazy amounts of, bandwidth each day, like trying to plan my day and spending like an hour doing it. I just have a template. I have systems built. So they replicate themselves, and then I just fill in the gaps like pretty quickly, and then I have an idea. It gives me control over my day. And anyway, that's fucking base, bare bones knowledge there. Have a daily calendar. But yeah, logical brain's fired, firing up 5 a.m. Next we got 9 a.m. Similar process here. Well, we're going to get rid of almost all the creative ones here, because by 9 a.m. I'm completely locked in to flow. There's rarely a creative muscle in sight. Like a spiral of focus. I mean, not to jump ahead of 9, because during these times, like, I'm not talking to anyone. Like, I try to actively avoid people. 9 a.m. is just like avoidance, and lock in, push, move the ball forward in a tangible way and attack the project that needs the most attention and requires the most logical thinking at the forefront. So noon comes around. For me, this is, gym time. Yeah, you're sharing space with others. You're on the Stairmaster or something. I'm still solving business problems, but I'm also chatting with people. I'm starting to relax a little bit, starting to kind of be a little bit more spontaneous, less rigid. It's kind of like a little bit of a time away to get outside, get away from the computer. Yeah, and 3 p.m. This could probably be another video in itself, but like all of these stones can represent different like nuggets of wisdom, different attributes from people that you admire, golden nuggets, fortune cookies, perceptive tunnels that fall into each of these categories. It's like when you're experiencing someone that you admire, you're picking up little things that you like about them and then scrapping the rest. If someone that you like says 90% of the things that they say are gold and you find value out of it, if they say one thing that you don't agree with, you don't have to just scrap the whole rest of the like 80 or 90% of the things that they said just because they said one thing that was like didn't match your ideological theories regarding life. 3 p.m. comes around. This is where I'm really flexing my chatty muscle. I'm making calls. I'm less tapped in and wired. But I'm more relatable to other people. I'm more relaxed. Like my energy is not like stingy. It's more like mellow, soft. I'm chill. I'm making calls to people about business, or I'm catching up with old friends, talking to family members and laughing, having fun, starting to relax, starting to come down from the, stingy focus from the beginning part of the day. You got your workout in, you're feeling good. At this point, I'm feeling a lot less pressure. I've already accomplished, like I've front loaded, like I'm huge into front loading. Like you have 7 days in the week, get most of your work done in the first 3. You have 24 hours in a day, get most of your work done in the first 5. It's going to make you feel better. You're going to be able to, it's going to free up more space for your creative mind at the end of the cycle to have a spark, show itself, and help you be more inventive. It's like your inventive spirit starts to peek through in these later parts in the day. You start to become a little bit more philosophical, and your ideas can have a home here. The freedom of expression. Going up to 9 p.m. In the evenings, I have meetings, catching up with old friends, just chatting about life. This is your downtime. This is when you do the things that can kind of numb you out, chill you out. If you're into social media, video games, sports, watching shows, whatever, like that stuff doesn't need to be completely eliminated. Like just eating and chatting about life and smiling, like taking a bath, whatever. Those things aren't bad. Like, you know, you can do those pleasureful, relaxing things and kind of numb yourself out. That's fine. Like, have an escape. Like, just don't drink and do drugs and crush yourself the next day. Like, have healthy escapes, like, and then do them for healthy amounts of time. These, for me, this is like, it's somewhat logical, but it's probably like 2 logic holes, 2 creative, but we'll put them on like the outskirts, because that's just kind of where you're vibing at that stage. This is sleep time, death mode, nothing. Astral projection, transcend, lucid dream, catch floating pills in the sky and pretend you're Bruce Lee. So yeah, those are character wrappers. A systematic way to apply different personalities throughout the day so that you can be more of a productive and successful being, that you can have a more of a focused and attentive presence. This will just deliver results, and you can fine tune it. It's not, like I said, this isn't a map. It's a tool, it's a compass. Have fun with it. Do it once just to think about it, and then it's like, you'd be surprised that when you draw something out, how much more real it makes it for yourself, and then you start to just move differently. But yeah, and you could have multiple too, like, or you could have ones like on the side, like maybe I got 3 or 4 different 5 a.m. Components for different types of days. Maybe I got a couple 9 a.m. ones, one for Saturday, where I want to, maybe one Saturday I want to get really weird and create some music and just throw paint at the wall. Then I come in here and get my gross, logical rapper out of there and throw in my 9 a.m. And you're doing a lot of this mentally. Like, it's like, yeah, you can create systems and, like, apply it to your daily schedule and have it written out. But, you don't have to go in there like, okay, it's Saturday, like, let me change out my 9 a.m. component, obviously. But yeah, that's that. That's going to separate you from the person, next door. Like, this guy over here is just extremely one-dimensional. The person who is heavily weighted in one category and doesn't have the ability to adapt throughout their day. They might be good in one area, but they're falling in the other. We need to be balanced if we want to be excellent, if we want to excel. So, yeah, I hope that was fun, and thanks again for watching, and yeah.